Alright, we're going to be making the oven rack. Now to find that, you have to go into Solidworks, hit the little question mark, go Solidworks Tutorials. Sorry about that popping out. Okay, my screen flew out of the way. I have two screens here, so that probably explains why. So you go to Solidworks Tutorials. Make that smaller to fit in here. Solidworks Tutorials, and we want Set 1. And then 3D Sketching. If you look down here, 3D Sketching is the oven rack. See that? I'm going to put it over here on my other screen here. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do is create new. And this pops up and says, how do we want to make this? Well, the one that we're actually making, this is in metric. So we need to drop this down and go millimeter, gram, second. So it needs to be metric. And I'm going to leave it as ANSI dimensioning. These are just different types of dimensioning styles. We'll say OK. That may or may not pop up on your machine. It normally pops up the first time you open it on a new reinstall. So let's go a new part. Say OK. Alright, so we have a nice work area. The first thing we're going to go do is go to Sketch and drop this down to 3D Sketch. There we go. And we want to create a line. Now you notice it shows an XY. We want to go to the origin, which is right there. And we are going to move along this axis, and you can see it snaps to it. I'm just going to move it along a little bit and click. Okay. And then I'll hit enter a few times just to get out of it. And now we need to make that 135 millimeters long. Now we have a couple of ways. When we drew it, we could have set the length, or we can do Smart Dimension and set it as 135. There we go. Now to zoom in and out, you can use the roller, the little roller in the middle of your mouse button, the middle button there. Don't press too hard or you'll click. Alright, so I have the 135 there. I can hit F to make that fit to screen. And if I push the button down, it pans. But really I want to keep that in more of an isometric view. Or trimetric. We'll go isometric. Okay, so now we're going to draw a line from the end of this and go the other way so that we can continue. Actually, we need to go down first. Let's do that. So from here, you can see it snaps straight down, and then we want to go out this way along that axis again, and then we're going to end up going that direction. But to change those directions, we need to hit tab, the tab key, and you can see it goes from XY to YZ to ZX. Now we actually want YZ. Alright, so there we go. It's working. This one's going to go out quite a bit, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Snap to it there. Now, we're going to have to switch back to XY. We're just on a little bit different plane. Alright, so we have our part, but now we can do some dimensioning. Now that was 135 length there. This is actually 15. After many, many times of drawing this, you'll know all these distances very, very well. That length should be, let's find that out, 240. And there we have this length. These are 15. 15. I can, lets me zoom in on that. There we go. And then this one should be, what, 135 again? All right. There we go. So the basics of it's drawn. Still don't like that angle. Let's tip it up. There we go. Now, I'm going to go in and fillet these corners. So I'll click Sketch Fillet, and I want this to be at, I think, 5 millimeter. So I type in 5, and I can just come in and click on those corners. Say OK. Now we have all these nice little fillets. Looks good. And now we can come up here and click 3D Sketch, and now we're done sketching it. Now right here is a good idea to say save it, since you've put a little bit of work into it. I am going to save it to my drive here. And I'm going to call this, well, whatever I want to call it. We're calling it oven rack, so that's what I'm going to call it in mine. But I'm going to put my name in front of it, just a BH. BH oven rack. Save that. Okay. So now I'm going to go sketch just on the regular plane. So sketch right here, not even on a plane, just sketch. And it says select a plane we want to draw on. I'm going to drop this down, and you can see there's a plane there. We actually drew on the front plane last time. Well, one's a little bit deeper. There's the top plane, and there's the right plane. I want to be on the right plane because we're going to draw around the center of that. So I'm going to zoom in on that a little. And what I'm going to do is create a circle from the center of this. Let's draw, and you can see it's on that plane, at least it looks like it is. Now the diameter is 5 millimeters, but I notice down here I can type in what looks like the radius. So if it's 5 diameter, I need to be 2.5 for the radius. We say OK. All right. Now we're going to come up here to features. Well, I guess I better end that first, end my drawing. I can say swept and boss. Now, if you look, sketch profile, okay, and then this one is the path. So we have the profile and the path. Let's zoom out a little bit, or I can just hit F to fit that. So now you can see that that profile has now fit the path, so we have this nice little tube. I can say OK, and there it is. I do tend to zoom in and out a lot, so don't be too set off by that. So now we're going to work on the front plane, okay, because we're going to put the little crossbars. So we'll go front. Now you can click extrude with nothing drawn yet, and now we can go and say, okay, now let's draw, but we know we're going to extrude what we draw. And I'm going to change over here to the front view. Which one is it? Right there, front view. Now I can zoom in on. Now you notice our part lines up nice and neat. If it doesn't line up, you need to go back and basically start over, or your XY, your planes probably got screwed up. So let's zoom in here. I want to draw this circle down the center. It snaps right to the center, you see. I don't want it on the end. I want to come in a little bit. And let's draw it. Now if I look at the instructions, it says the radius or the diameter should be 4, which means the radius should be 2. I will say OK, and I'm going to smart dimension from the center of that to the end of this. And that should be set at 11 millimeters. There we go. Now let's go check out this in our views again. There's our little part. All right. Now, as soon as I say end the drawing, it says, well, now I want to extrude it because we already started the extruded command. Which way do we want to go? I can say flip it because I know I need to go to that side. And end condition here, I want it to be up to surface, up to this surface. And it automatically hit across. Now, if your surfaces don't line up, this isn't going to work because it won't have a surface to line up with. So keep that in mind. And if it doesn't work, once again, you just might have to back up and figure out what went wrong. Say OK. All right. Now we need to view temporary axes. If you look up here, we have these little eyeglasses. we can come down here and view temporary axes, and you can see they turned on. All right. And now we're actually going to make a pattern and make more of these across here, because it is a little oven rack. So we're going to come up here to linear pattern, and that happened to be the last part we made, so it's already selected right here, this boss extrude 1. If it's not selected, go ahead and click on it. Now the direction, let's see. Let's save F to fit. There we go. And we want to set, hopefully the direction's right there. Oh, we need to actually select like this temporary axis to match. Hey, it's going the right way. If not, we can flip it. But we want it to go along this direction. And we want to set our spacing right here to 22 millimeters. And we want to have a total of 6 of them. Okay, that looks good. So now we've basically did an array or a linear pattern and shifted them all down and copied them. Next thing we're going to do is mirror this. But I'm going to go ahead and turn off our temporary axes so we can see our part again. Now we're going to click the mirror feature up in the box here somewhere, if I can find it. There we go. And it says, what do we want to mirror? That's our mirror face. Now I am going to drag this thing around so that I can see the end of one of these, because I want to mirror across that face. Now if you look, there's not a whole lot there selected yet, and the features to mirror, we want to mirror, well, how about that and that, and we could even drop this little box down and select everything we want. Let's see what that does. So I'll say OK. Oh, my plane must have disappeared. Okay. Now let's try it. Oops, we didn't mirror everything. Dang it, we'll have to go fix that. But if we go into the mirror command, we can right mouse click on that. Okay, it was going. We're just waiting. And we can come up here to edit the feature. And then features to mirror. We didn't have everything selected. Actually, that was selected. Let's try these. Let's select that and see what happens. Hey, there we go. Now we have everything selected. Let's go up here back to trimetric or isometric. And as we look, our part is done, and it looks good.